So to get us started, I'm going to introduce Congressman Norcross from the 1st Congressional District.
Well, thank you everyone for attending our census meeting. We have a number of people with us today who are focused on making sure everybody gets counted. You'll hear shortly from Jeff Baylor, who is the Regional Director up in New York City, but for the 8 states and territory here in the East. We have Freeholder Carmen Rodriguez of Camden County, Councilman Tim Howard from Palmyra, and folks from what they call the Complete Count Committee. Both Christina from Gloucester County and Brenda from Lindenwold. And I want to thank all of them for participating. And thank you. We're in the midst of something that our forefathers, those who wrote the Constitution, knew it was important for everybody to be counted. And why did they do that? Because they understood fairness and wanted to give everybody that equal chance. And today we're in the midst of our census that takes place every 10 years. And why is that important? Well, number one, it determines how many members of Congress you have. And the more members of Congress you have should mean the more power and words that you get to talk to when you're in Washington. But it also is about allocation of resources. In this case, money, billions of dollars. If everybody gets counted, it's all equal. If you do not participate, that means our percentage of that pot goes down, which means people don't get the help they need. It's incredibly important now more than ever. It gives us back what we deserve. And New Jersey right now pays more out than we get back, and we need to reverse that. And we've been working hard to do exactly that. Again, the Complete Count Committee, which are this group of local citizens gathering together to make sure our voices count effectively, even in a pandemic. $675 billion are allocated through this formula, and that's real money. That means money and power, but we have challenges. Each of the issues that we're talking about today are being challenged because of the pandemic. So funding for hospitals, schools, businesses, social services, and yes, infrastructure, all comes through that formula. And working together, we can do this. Now, I want to make sure that everybody, and I'm sure we're going to hear from the committee, understands that by law, this is confidential. They are not allowed to share the information they collect with any law enforcement, anybody from ICE immigration. Absolutely not. That's the basis, the foundation for an effective census. We understand that this information is sensitive, and we keep it that way. There are people trying to sow those seeds of doubt, but you'll hear shortly how important that confidentiality is. Our census is our future, and let's make South Jersey count. We know it does. So I have the pleasure of introducing somebody who's been through 3 censuses since he joined the agency, how many, 1970, what was it? No, 1997. I have a little backwards. You're not quite that old. Started in Detroit, been to Maryland, been to Dallas, and now is in the Big Apple, which takes care of New Jersey. Please welcome a good friend of everybody who likes to be counted, Jeff Baylor. Jeff, great to have you here.
Thank you so much, Congressman. Thank you for hosting and leading this conversation. It's such an important thing to ensure everyone in Congressional District gets counted. So I have a brief presentation I'm going to share with you, give you an update on 2020 and kind of where we stand right now. And if you didn't know, there's a tool available at 2020census.gov. We have a lot of resources, toolkits, social media toolkits. We also have a response rate mapper that we update every weekday at 3 p.m. to show you the percentage of households that have self-responded to the 2020 census. So what does that mean? It means they've either gone online, they've called it in over the phone, or they filled it out on paper and mailed it back in. And let me share with you locally what some of these response rates look like. So here you can see I wanted to include Camden, Burlington, and Gloucester counties to see where they're currently at in their self-response rates compared to 2010, as well as some cities within Congressional District 1. You can see in Congressional District 1 almost at 67%, roughly 6 percentage points behind 2010. New Jersey as a state is roughly 3.5 percentage points behind where we were in 2010. And then nationally, you can see right now we're about a little over 4 percentage points behind. And I don't bring, show this slide to say to focus on, hey, we need to work harder. This is a slide to celebrate the work. If you would have told me we would have reached these rates in these areas, in this congressional district, and have the most important piece of a census, and that's the ability of our partners to work directly with their communities by bringing them together in groups, educating them, motivating them, and giving them the opportunity to fill out the census online, whether it's at a library or a church or a community-based organization. Our partners on this call today are truly amazing, and these numbers are a testament to the work that they have done over the past 2 years. I mean, it's truly amazing to reach these rates without the ability to bring people together. I can't thank all of you enough for all of your leadership. Congressman, for your leadership, your voice, your staff has been amazing. All the counties that are represented, the complete count committees in those counties and in those local municipalities and towns. This is something to celebrate. We have work to do, and I'm going to talk next about kind of what the schedule looks like. But please know the work that you are doing has made a difference, and the Census Bureau can't thank you enough. So where are we at? It's important to note that there have been some changes to the schedule for the 2020 census based upon COVID-19. So probably first and foremost, we should have started knocking on doors in mid-May, May 13th. Largest operation we conduct, we knock on the door of every address that has yet to respond to the census. But it wouldn't have made sense to do so. It wouldn't have been safe to do so, not for the public, not for our staff. So we have requested statutory relief for the one date that's tied in law to a census, and that's December 31st of 2020. By that date, we have to turn over to the President of the United States the apportionment counts, the counts by state, and then shortly thereafter, that's turned over to our Congress. And, given COVID-19, we've requested that date be pushed 4 months into the future. So the end of April of 2021. What that does, that allows us to push our field operations later into the calendar year to a point where it's safe to actually go out there and knock on doors. So I want to highlight 3 of those changes in our operational schedule. The first off, self-response. Data collection was supposed to end at the end of this month, according to our original schedule. But due to COVID-19, under our proposed schedule, that has been moved to October 31st. So every household throughout Congressional District 1 will have the ability to self-respond, to go online, to call it in over the phone, or to fill it out on paper if they still have that questionnaire, all the way until October 31st. Now, that's not a date we should be advertising as you have until this date to fill it out, because regardless of when you fill it out, whether it's August 1st or October 31st, we're asking you who lived at that address as of April 1st, 2020. So it's not the date you're filling it out, it's April 1st, 2020 that matters. So the quicker people can respond, the higher the quality data. If you want to use a date to motivate your community, use August 11th, because that's the date in which we will start knocking on doors of every household in your community that has yet to respond to the census. We're hiring people locally to work, and I'll talk about that shortly, to knock on doors to collect the very same information that households can fill out online or over the phone or on paper. We just collect it in person. And we know in some neighborhoods or with some households, that's the best way to do it. So that's scheduled to start August 11th. And then finally, we always need your community's support and help in our service-based enumeration, how we count those that are experiencing homelessness. Over a 3-day period, September 22nd through the 24th, we will visit every mobile food van, every soup kitchen, every homeless shelter in your community, and conduct an enumeration of the people that they serve. There's a couple different options that they have that we're going to start reaching out at the end of August to every one of these locations to see what date works best for them and to give them the options on how we can count those community members that they serve. In addition, we'll be doing our homeless count. And part of the homeless count is to gather from you, our partners, locations where those who are experiencing homelessness, who they aren't staying in a shelter, Maybe it's a tent city in the forest, or, behind the church, or beneath an overpass. Learning those locations, because at 12:01 in the morning on either the night of the 23rd, 24th, or the 22nd, we will actually be going out there and visiting every one of those sites and doing an enumeration of those individuals. We don't wake them up. We just do a simple head count to ensure that we count the homeless. So those are 3 key dates, but August 11th, that's the date on which we'll be starting non-response follow-up. I want you to know that all of our employees are given PPE. They're given masks and hand sanitizer. They are required, regardless of what the local jurisdiction states, they are required to wear a mask. And, we follow CDC and local guidelines. We will only be knocking on doors if it's deemed safe to do so. And right now, throughout New Jersey, it is deemed safe. So we are still planning to start this operation on August 11th. If no one is home, and kind of a very expensive way to get people to self-respond, but we leave a notice of visit if no one is there when we knock on their door. And on that notice of visit, we let them know, hey, it's not too late. You can still go online or call it in over the phone. We give them their census ID along with the URL and the phone number, and we leave it on a little note. And typically we see an uptick in self-response as soon as we start knocking on doors. In addition, if people are worried, maybe they don't know who this is, one way to tell it's a census employee, again, they'll be carrying a smartphone. That's how they're collecting the data and conducting the interview, but they have an official badge. And while we won't share a picture what the badge looks like, it does have their photo on it with a expiration date, and it also has an official Department of Commerce watermark. I'll share with you at the end of my slide presentation a number you can reach out to if you have any concerns, if your constituents or community members want to validate that it indeed is a census employee. They can call a toll-free number and we can look that information up for them. So with COVID-19, again, many of you we totally would have understood if everyone would have hit the pause button because of COVID-19, but you've re-engineered yourselves and you're doing some really cool things, and it shows in our results. So what we tell people, these are some things you can do. We get often asked from partners, what is it that we can do in this age of COVID-19? First off, prioritize. You know your areas better than anywhere else. We have the data available, daily updated at 3 o'clock on our response rate mapper. Let's put the resources where they're most needed. In other words, if we have areas that maybe are seasonal homes or second homes that have a low self-response rate, it doesn't make sense to spend a lot of resources there right now. It makes sense in those homes that we know, those neighborhoods we know that people live in those homes. So prioritize. Be visible, whether you're holding a parade or a car caravan, whether you're calling or texting households, posting things on social media, dropping off flyers. These are all different things you can do to be visible, to talk about the census, to get the census back out there and get some excitement about it. Lastly, I'll put in there, or the last bullet, writing the editor. All of you are trusted voices. And when you are talking, just like the congressman was talking about what's at stake over the next 10 years, how important the 2020 census is to the next decade for our communities, when it means so much more when it's coming from that local person who people know, who people trust, and people go to for validation and education. So use your voice, talk about how safe the census is, how easy it is to fill it out, and how important it is for the next decade. This is an example of one of the things that our partners have requested. We created just a little half pager that food distribution sites are including in their food bags. We have partners who've reached out to restaurants that have agreed to include these in their takeout meal bags. We have pizza places that have stapled it on the top of their pizza boxes when they deliver pizza. If you need these, get in contact with your local partnership specialist. We'll print them for you, or we can send you a PDF if you prefer to print them to make sure. But again, it's just sharing information. This particular half pager has all the toll-free telephone numbers, as well as the URL where to go online. So a couple initiatives we have coming up. The mobile questionnaire assistance. This is basically, we have 700 staff throughout our region. They all have iPads. They were working as recruiters, trying to recruit people and allowing people to use the iPads to apply for census jobs. Well, we're done with recruiting now, but we kept them and we're kind of repurposing what they're doing. And now they're helping people fill out the census form. So if you're interested in hosting an event, in your community. Maybe it could be at a food distribution site, maybe at a testing site, maybe at a business. We have staff that that will show up with iPads. We speak over 150 languages across these 700 staff members. We can bring promotional items as well as printed materials that talk about the importance of the census. Just reach out to us. We are prioritizing partner events over everything else. So if you want to do something in your community, please reach out to us. We would love to support you. A couple initiatives. Faith-Based Weekend is coming up the 24th through the 26th. Here's a link to a toolkit that we have out there that shares some sample things you can put on church signage to inside church bulletins, topics that can be discussed via email, maybe email blast to all the church or temple or mosque, those that worship there. Just a lot of different ideas. There's videos of faith-based leaders throughout the nation, short little videos that can be shared as well. So we certainly understand that our faith-based leaders are some of the most important and loudest voices in the community. So we're trying to really recreate create a big national buzz during the weekend of July 24th to the 26th to get our faith-based leaders talking about the 2020 census. Push Week, and this is extremely important, the last initiative that I'll talk about. Each region, we have 6 across the country, have a dedicated Push Week, and ours will be July 27th through August 2nd. And what that is, our national contract that controls our media will be purchasing additional media buys in every media market throughout our region. In addition, we're trying to ask our partners, if they have an event going on, will they include census in that event? Or maybe could they create an event during that week? Because we are going to try to just overwhelm social media and paid media and earned media to talk about the census. One last ditch effort to create a buzz around the census before we start knocking on doors. Because for every self-response that we get on the census, that's one less door we're going to need to knock on. That's higher quality data at lower cost to the American taxpayer. So we're really excited about this. We're going to have social media content. We're going to have challenges where we're challenging all counties in New Jersey against one another to see who can get the most growth between the Friday before our Push Week starts and then the Monday after our Push Week ends. So we're going to be measuring growth, not total self-response, but the growth during that time period. So it's a great way to challenge communities within your county or neighborhoods. So we're going to be setting something up like that, and you'll learn more about that next week. But Push Week is going to be a big week, and just know that we are here to support you in any and every way that we possibly can. Lastly, I just wanted to mention on that suspecting fraud, you see our website there. We have a fraud or a scams and fraud web page where we talk about things that are being posted on social media that may be scams or fraud. We also, have phone numbers there that you can call, different materials that talks exactly about what a census person looks like. But please reach out to us. Don't be afraid. If something doesn't seem right in your community, let us know, because if you hear of someone knocking on doors saying they're from the census, asking for social security numbers, or asking for money or bank account or credit card information, or asking for something on behalf of a political party, it's not the census. We never ask for those things. It's just the short form only census. So please reach out to us. We'll do the research, the legwork. We have an amazing team of partnership specialists in New Jersey, and especially those that are covering Congressional District 1 that just do an amazing job. And we want to provide you the support that you deserve. So let me finish from where I started. And again, thanking all of you for the amazing work that you're doing. It's been an honor as a resident of New Jersey. Live a little north of Congressional District 1, but it means so much to me for New Jersey to get its fair share of funding and representation. So again, thank you, Congressman, for your leadership on this, and for all those who are attending this call, thank you for all that you do in support of getting a complete and accurate count.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeff, for your input and just speaking how important the census is. Next, I would like to ask Carmen Rodriguez to discuss Camden City census efforts.
Thank you. Well, as most of you know, Camden City is 100% a difficult to count area, so that we basically, every single individual falls under at least one category of difficult to count. So what we did initially was actually create an executive committee that was comprised of representatives of all of these difficult to count communities, which included the homeless, included nonprofits, just as an agency that helps us. We do have 5 of them that are actually funded to support all of our efforts. We have seniors, we have the very young, because we know we have difficulties counting the very young children, so once they're just born, and so forth. Each one of them is required to develop their own initiative tailored specifically to that population, whether it's undocumented, whether it's African American, whether it's Hispanic, whatever the population is, they have to create their own initiatives to address all of those issues. The one thing that we do know is that many people are afraid of being counted in the census for various reasons. And so what we wanted to do was try to dispel those myths. So what we did was try to identify individuals within those communities that were trusted. So in the undocumented population, we look for individuals that can communicate very well with us, but are also very trusted in that community. People will hear them say, okay, so this is something that's safe for me to do. I'm going to take your word for it. I'm going to fill out this application. The other thing that we also very early on realized was the importance of a simple message in our community. We do know that a lot of the people in our community, actually anywhere, don't read as much. They want something that's quick and easy to understand. So one of the things we did was actually come up with a flyer with a very simple message. And what we did was actually we shared it with the rest of the county, because if we're going to use it in Camden City for residents, we'll go to Pennsauken, and then they'll go to Merchantville, and they'll go throughout the entire of the county. So basically, almost every single town actually adopted a similar format that they can go into every community and see, okay, it's easy, it's important, and it's safe. It's easy, it's safe, it's important. This is something that's really important. That was the first message that we did. This was pre-COVID, and so that's where we started. After that, we wanted to get a little bit more excitement, because we also know that the best way to reach families and parents and so forth is through the children. So one of the things that we announced very early on was actually, well, we did reach out to churches, and we did a training for churches. But then what we also did was, through the school district, we actually did a t-shirt contest with our kids. And they were invited, and there were prizes to be issued. And what we decided to do was, because this is something what we wanted the kids to do, look at the census, see what is important about it. Give us something that kind of can communicate the importance of the census, but be local. Be from our area, be by somebody that we know. And so we, of course, have our winners, and this, of course, is the little secret out. This is our winning poster, our t-shirt design. It was very simple to do, because all we did was we asked them, everybody was out, just take a picture of it, submit it, and you can have, and then you can be a contestant. And this was the one that was ultimately selected. We looked at it as a committee decided, then we presented it to our mayor, so that our mayor could award the community, the particular individual. And from here, we hope to adopt this design, we'll have adopted this design, so that people can see, Camden counts too. Camden counts too. We love that, because Bennington is very proud of their community, and we want them to be very proud. Now, that is the simple message, but we understand there's still a lot of distrust, and it's really important to get through the distrust. And so through all of these trainings, the wonderful thing is the feedback you get from the community, and where people know that they're going to find those challenges. So while everybody's allowed to do their, create their program specific to that particular population, this should have been happening during the COVID era. Of course, it's just starting. I've just recently finished it up, because during the COVID era, we had to focus on making sure everybody was safe. And thank heavens we've had 4 extra months to put this forward, because then this becomes meaningful. And in this particular flyer that we designed, this is a local design. It is intended to address the local concerns. So again, it's still the same exact message. Camden counts too, and it's easy, it's safe, it's important. And we put some of the language. One of the things that we know is the questions are very concerning. So if you notice, we've included all of the questions, all the information that you need so that people know that, you have somebody's asking you for your social security number. Wait, that wasn't on the list. What are they going to ask? Are they going to ask me whether I'm a citizen or not? No, it's not on the list. The questions are all right there. So it tells you what it is, how it's mandated. We talk about also the fines that would be imposed to individuals. We talk about why it's important. And, you know, we do graphics. We try to keep this language as simple as possible so that people can see, again, it's safe, it's easy, it's important, and it's in 2 languages. We wanted to make sure that we communicate because in Camden City, the population is a little over 50% Hispanic. And that's what we want to do. So this will be going out very soon. We do have the larger ones that we will be placing in our storefronts. These will be coming out probably not this Monday, but next Monday. You should be seeing these elsewhere. Everything that we've done in Camden City, we've shared with the county so that anybody is invited to take any piece of it. If you want to get a Word copy of it because you want to use it, reach out. We're here to share because we just want people to get counted. The other thing that we're going to be starting soon is we're going to start teams that are actually going to go out. They're not enumerators. They're just going to share information, probably just a flyer, maybe a little card, just explaining the census is coming. It's really important. You can be counted. Go to the website, go to the phone number. You can do that. If you need help, we have places at the community centers where you can go get counted, and there'll be people there that'll make sure that you're safe. Not that they're going to help you do it per se, but they'll be trained to let you know, here's a computer if you need access. Here's a phone if you need access. You can come here and do it. And there's a lot of agencies that are partners with the community that are doing exactly the same thing, including most of our housing projects that we have in the city. And then what we're going to do with these individuals that are going to be handing out these flyers is we're going to create, they are paid, but what we're going to do is we're going to take our 20 census sites. As we talked about, Camden City is very low, even as compared to 2010 census numbers. So what we've done is we've taken all 20 of the census tracts. We've basically looked at the numbers, what we have, where we were in 2010, the kind of a comparison of where we're dealing, and created some goals. So now what we can do is take our groups and divide them into teams so that they can come together and just turn it into a little bit more fun of a game so that they can kind of think about, like, oh, well, let's see what the numbers look like. And just when they go out there and the next week they say, oh, we increased this. Oh, wow, this is really great. We're doing something really awesome. Just to get the kids, well, they're not kids, they're adults, but get them really excited so that they go out and they tell people, this is really important. We've got to do this. This is our money. This is the money that's going to help us, whether it's with TANF, our schools, our roads. This is what's going to give us a congressional representation so that we can get all of our representation that we need. And then that'll be the first 3 weeks. And then the next 3 weeks, which is when the enumerators come out, then they'll be at the sites rather than out in the streets, but rather at the sites, so that if somebody wants to do it themselves, they don't want to answer to an enumerator, they have places where they can go and still self-report. And that's Camden City in a nutshell.
Great.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Carmen, for your input. Next, we're going to go ahead on up to Burlington County, Pellmeyer. We have Tim Howard of the Pellmeyer Complete Count Committee.
Good afternoon. Thank you, everyone. That was an excellent presentation. I want to get some of those flyers for Burlington County, especially the one with showing the things that they asked that aren't asked on the flyer. That people really need to know that they can't ask you for your social security number or your bank account. That's an excellent flyer to hand out. But I'll jump into what we've been doing here in Pellmeyer. We had a job fair early February. We didn't get a big turnout for job applicants, but we did get people coming and asking about the census. We partnered with a state representative, Ms. Copeland, from the census, and our county representative was I always mess up our last name, Mrs. Bathby. They partnered with us and helped us bring that job fair to Pellmeyer, and we were able to get flyers and handouts and talk to a couple residents about the upcoming census, which helped us come in March because we had a big turnout of people who did fill out the forms when it hit the streets, their mailboxes. People were asking, "Oh, I filled out my census," telling us they filled their census already. So that was good. Like you've seen our numbers, they're pretty high for right now, 68%. With the 3 months of us not being able to get out to the community, I'm very excited and proud of that. A way to go, Palmyra residents, and we're going to continue doing more work with that. We have a mobile food pantry that we had in town, so we were letting people know, remind them about the census with our senior community and along with our families. So that was one of the ways we were getting the word out also. We're planning a free event coming up, if we're allowed to, come late August. I wish we could get it at the end of this month, but that would be perfect. But we're planning August 29th to have a free concert. We'll have a local band play in which we have people laying out on our sports complex, soccer field or football field. Just listen to music, maybe hand out some water ice, and having the census team there. I talked to our county agent, and she's going to have the street team. What we call that again? That was the mobile questionnaire assistance team. So they're already on board with us. They're going to be there at that event. That's late last week in August. We also have our council and our mayor and other members of the community reaching out to people about the census. Everywhere you go, somebody's bringing up the census. So it's a word, it's more of a catchphrase than put your mask on. So that's where we're at right now. Thank you for your time, and thank you for letting me present. Right now, we're at 9 points lower than 2010 people from Palmyra if you're on. So we're close, but we're planning on by October getting a bigger number. Thank you.
Thank you for that input, Tim. Really appreciate to hear what's happening in Palmyra. Next, we have Christina Valquez. She's from the Gloucester County Complete Count Committee.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Christina Velasquez from Gloucester County. I'm part of the local Complete Count Committee that's run through our planning division right now. We have several members from our department. We have on board all the support from freeholders, and we've been able to partner with a couple of nonprofits and a municipality. We have Gateway Community Action Partnership that's really focusing on a couple of our Hearts Camp communities in Paulsboro and Glassboro. The borough of Swedesboro is on board with us as a partner also because the migrant community, farming community is classified as a Hearts Count population as well. And so they've been doing a lot through direct mail and flyers and outreach to really get out there and do it. I have to say the virus really had a detrimental impact on the plan that we had for outreach. We really intended to have a really big mobile response plan. We were going to do vinyl covering to have a van pretty much retrofitted to go out into these communities and do these responses. So we backtracked and we refocused, and we still got our tablets in order for us to have our response kiosks. And now that we're opening up a little bit, we are able to go to certain sites. We've had, through our land preservation program, we had our flower show where there was some turnout and have some exposure. We had our tablets available for self-response. This Saturday, we're actually anticipating a really great event. It's going to be great weather. It's a great family event. It's our annual Butterfly Festival, and where people are going to be able to bring their families to the National Red Bank Battlefield, which is a historic site as it is. And they're anticipating a really great turnout. Hopefully everyone will maintain their social distancing and have their face coverings on as they should. We, in fact, created, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but we were able to purchase our own face masks as well, face coverings to be able to give out. Originally it was for outreach, but it also provides the information to respond, whether you can respond online or by phone. It provides that information. And our mantra has been Gloucester County, count me in, because we want to make sure that everybody is counted. We've been able to provide the masks and information through our transportation, our special transportation shuttles. And they've been providing all the information for phone call and online responds. We've had our Office on Aging, our Division of Senior Services, through all of their wellness checks with all of their seniors. They've made sure to ask about the census, let them know it's safe and easy and important to respond. And if they didn't feel comfortable being online, they can call by phone, and they would be, they would be guided through the process through an actual census staff or an employee. We've also been very connected with our faith-based community. A lot of our churches who also have pantries have also been able to provide the information. We've taken a lot of the promotional gear that we have in items and provided it to them so that they will be able to, disperse it to their beneficiaries for the, for their food pantries and their services. For the push week that Jeff Baylor was talking about with the faith-based community, we anticipate that we'll be going to several of the tent services that are outside by a lot of the different churches, and we're going to have tables there, like mobile kiosks that provide the laptop ability and hotspots so that people can respond to the census. And we're focusing more on where these hard to count areas are. We're just 4 points shy of where our 2010 census response rate is, but we really anticipate that it's gonna go much higher. There's a lot of exposure in the media market where we are in Philadelphia, Delaware Valley market. So I do see a lot of the commercials on there. So I'm hoping that people really make that connection and just pick up their phone and just respond. If they, when we're at events, we just say, go ahead, this is the number to call, just do it. It's safe, it's easy, it's so important. Personally, for our program here that I run, it's Housing and Community Development, we receive the HUD funds from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. And those funds are directly correlated with your population. And we're never going to reach the population of 500,000 like in Camden County. But we really wish that, if everyone was counted, there's no telling how much more of the funding we could really get. And we've already lost a couple of congressional seats because of, low counts in the last 2 census takes, I believe it was. So, it is really important that we go out and really be proactive in getting people, not just informing them on how important the census is, but really, really encouraging them and letting them know that it's important to respond and giving them that information in order to do so. So if it's enticing them with the face coverings or the tote bags or whatever event that we're at and giving them all of these freebies, we're all for it and helping them to do it. And we're very thankful for our partners that we have and for the freeholder support that we have, because even though we can't all go out and do the events that we had hoped to do with the libraries and, coordinating children's activities with those libraries, there's still opportunity left in order to get that word out. And I'm really anticipating that the push week that we have will get us, above and beyond where we need to be, but also to let people know to prevent, you don't want that person knocking on your door. That's where so much of the mistrust is. If you don't want them knocking on your door, come on, let me help you, fill out this census and complete it. So that's where we are. We're thankful also for our partners. I do want to give a great shout out to Tom Mayfield. He's an awesome census rep that we have. He's really helped us get together with a lot of the people who are helping us in our outreach efforts and just collaborating with us on other events and providing his presence, resources, and we provide ours, and it's been a great collaboration, and I've enjoyed working with him and with the Census Bureau on doing and getting our numbers up. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina, for your input today. Last but not least, we have Miss Brenda Roach. She is coming from the Lindenwood Complete Count Committee.
You're muted. There you go.
Got it. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. I said thank you to everyone. You gave me some great ideas that I will put and pass on with Miss Dawn, I'm kind of filling in for her today. So she wanted me to explain some of the things that we have done to try to get the word out. The school board, they do lunches. And we have 5 remote spots as well as 2 of the schools. and it's once a week for 5 days worth of food for the children. We're putting the English and Spanish version on the half sheet in every one of their lunches. We're sending out email blasts from our website. We're trying to reiterate to everyone and then send out anyone that's subscribed. Police is sending out Nixle messages as well. I don't know if everyone's familiar with that, but they have almost 3,000 followers. They're not all from Lindenwold, but they're mostly from Camden County itself. We're doing our website updates during our conference calls where our council meetings are promoting the website, the census as well. We had a pop-up food pantry at Paco Speedline, and we were out giving out flyers there as well. We had a COVID-19 day through Camden County. They came out, and it was in one of our areas in town that we know is a hard count area. So we went out there, our mayor actually went out there and handed paperwork out the entire day to the shoppers as well as the people that came for the COVID information. So we're trying to get the word out. We haven't had any of our events here, obviously. So that was one of our ideas, but we have a couple main signs, or 4x4 signs in town. We did an original one, and we used the April 1st as kind of a guide date. Well, everybody started to just see April 1st, so we just updated it, saying Census 2000. It's not too late. We put it on our website as well. It's on our front page. And then during the primary election, we also put flyers and pencils and pens and some things at the election areas to try to just reiterate to the people. So the plans for the future, our goal from 2010, where our goal, it was 62%. We're only at 50% right now. So we've really, really got to move it up. We're going to try to do some pop-up kiosks at the apartment complexes. We have 2 main roads in town that have a lot of apartment complexes. And we know that that's the hard to count area. So we're trying to focus that area. We're going to work with them. We're also going to work with our churches. We did have permission to go to some of the churches, but now with what happened with COVID, we're actually getting them to help us out with getting the word out as well. We're going for our Census Day of Action. We're going to open up our parking lot at the Borough Hall, our municipal building, which is right on the White Horse Pike. We're going to put our police mobile sign in the hard to count area advertising this. And we're going to have food, and we're going to have some giveaways, and we're going to have kiosks set up with the hot spots under the tent, 6 feet away. So we're working on that. It's going to be about a 4-hour event. So hopefully that will help a little bit. We're trying to get some sponsors as well to help give us some giveaways, some different things to entice people. We're going to continue to do the email blast as well as robocalls, which is done through our school system. We have about 2,500 students in our school system, so they'll be sending out another robocall. They've sent out 2 so far. We're just going to include our census flyers. We have the half flyers front and back. One's English, one's Spanish. And we're also taking the flyers to our faith-based churches, and we're trying to get it virtual, and we're trying to push it out on social media. So we're trying. We're just trying to do our best. We're going to continue trying. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for your input, Brenda. Lastly, we are going to have our Q&A. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to input that in the chat box.
Digna, before you get to that, can I chime in a little bit? First of all, thank you all. Some great ideas. I was just thinking the robocalls through the school system. What better way? A trusted group sending those out. But Brenda, you mentioned something about police, and I didn't catch. What were they doing, or what role were they playing?
They have the Nixle account. I don't know if you're familiar with Nixle.
No,
it's something that you sign up for. Different police officers have it. There's different entities that have this, and you sign up for this. So when they make an announcement, it automatically goes to your. Okay.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. It's
Okay.
usually for emergency flooding, things of that nature.
Yes. So that's what they're helping us with that, because they have almost 3,000 followers for that.
Great. I'm sorry, Digna. Just wanted to first of all say thank you, but some of the great ideas that were coming out.
Perfect. Thank you. So we received a question via email. I'll read this really quickly. It states, my census questionnaire had some very personal and almost invasive questions on it, but I answered them as truthful to show the census who I was. I would have been proud to tell them that I was a born citizen of the USA. Why not ask everyone what country they are from, or at least USA citizen, yes or no? And this question comes from Keith Warner from Burlington, New Jersey.
Jeff, you want to jump in on that?
Absolutely. Yeah, and thank you for the question. So we are required by law to conduct the census, and this time around it was deemed to be the short form only census. Now, there was a request by the Department of Commerce back in 2018 to include a citizenship question, and that raised a lot of concerns from a lot of partners. So that debate was eventually taken to Supreme Court, where it was determined it was not lawful to be included on the 2020 census. So we do collect that type of information on another survey. We do ask for whether you're a U.S. citizen or not as part of the American Community Survey. But for the short form only census, the goal of this census is to, again, to support representation for our communities and funding. And how we do that is we go out there and conduct per Article 1, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution, we conduct an enumeration of the people and of the housing units.
But they bring up a great point. With all the rhetoric that's going on out there, you know, people start to think, are they asking me so they can start bringing ICE into my neighborhood? And we understand that. And that's why this is an important venue to say, this is not shared with those groups by law. And Jeff, we appreciate that. But, you know, you read things on the internet, you hear them, even though they're not true. They're trying to sow those seeds of doubt into people's minds. So thanks for pointing that out. Carmen, you had a question or a comment?
No, somebody was asking if they could get a copy of one of the flyers that I put out, and I am more than happy to share anything that I've mentioned. All you have to do is send an email to carodrig@ci.camden.nj.us, and I will be more than happy to share whatever I have.
Awesome. Thank you, Carmen. And one other thing in the chat, Jim Rhodes mentioned that there is going to be Camden County's hosting a food distribution tomorrow at Camden County College at 11 a.m., where there will be laptops for people to complete their census and information in regards to the census as well. Additionally, there's another question that we received last night. And then also, so what it reads is, does the census determine the number of representatives in Congress?
Not the total number, but the apportionment to each one. Right now, each district is about 750,000 rough numbers. And depending on what happens in the census, we'll say that number will go up, will go down, but it'll always be 435 the way the United States is set up now, plus the territories.
Awesome. Another question we received over the evening is, when is the last time I could complete my census online?
Yesterday. Get it done right away. Jeff?
Yeah, that's right. We really do want you to fill it out as soon as possible. But the deadline for the 2020 census will be October 31st of this year. But again, remember, we're asking you about the status, who lived at your house as of April 1st. Not the day you're filling it out, but April 1st. So the sooner you fill it out, the better.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. So it looks like that's probably our last question. Just want to hand it over to Congressman Norcross for any final statements.
Your voice is your vote. Your vote is to make sure that you get counted. We understand the challenges that are going on with COVID. We have so important dates. We have the election coming up in November that determines our leadership. but how many leaders you have is determined by the census. The forefathers, when they put together the Constitution, had that foresight to understand that we are a growing nation, we are a changing nation, and we have to figure out who we are and where we are. That's why it's so important. It's not a political issue. It's a matter of representation, and that every person, no matter where they came from or who they are or what they choose to do, gets counted. We are all in this together. So again, thank you, the Census Bureau, Jeff Baylor, for what you're doing, and for each of you and those unique ideas, just wonderful ideas. We really are a creative bunch. And Digna, for you and the staff at our office, 427-7000. If you have any questions, obviously, we're still dealing with the pandemic, the unemployment issues, the incentives. We're there for you, so please take advantage of us. And everybody, have a safe day. Take care.